When we think about health, our minds usually jump straight to things like doctors, prescriptions, and medical procedures. But what if that's only part of the story? What if we're missing some really crucial pieces of the puzzle? Today, we're going to dive into the work of Dr. Daniel Vigdorovich, who makes a fascinating case that our feelings, the food we eat, and even our relationships are just as vital to our well-being. And that's really the big question, isn't it? What if the key to staying healthy isn't something you can just get from a pharmacy? What if it's hidden in plain sight, in our emotions, our meals, and our everyday connections with people? To really get what this means, let's look at an incredible real-life story.
So this quote, it comes from a true story that Dr. Vigdorovich shared, and it is just wow. It's about a woman diagnosed with cancer who, against all odds, falls deeply in love. And then something incredible happens. The tumor just stops growing. When the relationship sadly ends, her health starts to decline again. But then she finds love a second time, and believe it or not, the disease halts once more. This isn't just some feel-good story. It's a powerful, real-world example of the profound physical link between how we feel and what happens inside our body.
All right, so that brings us to our first big idea: love, tears, and health. We're going to explore the stories and a bit of the science that shows just how much our inner world, our emotions and relationships, directly shapes our physical reality. And here's the bottom line. It's not that the mind and body are just connected. They're in a constant, non-stop conversation. Everything we feel, whether it's the high of a great connection or the low of feeling stressed and alone, is literally sending chemical messages throughout our entire system. These messages influence everything, from how well our immune system works to how our cells behave. Now, check out this quote from Rabbi Laitman. It frames intimacy in a really powerful way. He's saying it's not just a biological function. It's a source of life itself, a way to heal, a way to relieve stress. This just drives home that idea that our deep connections are absolutely fundamental to our physical health. And it's not just one person's perspective. This idea is completely universal. As Svetlana Brilliant points out here, you can strip away all our modern technology and complexities, and what are we left with? These core human needs for warmth, safety, pleasure, and connection. These aren't just things we want, they're the very foundation of our well-being.
And maybe, just maybe, actor Alexander Kudsin sums it all up in the simplest, most powerful way. At the end of the day, what's the most important thing? To love and understand each other. That's the emotional nourishment that, as we just saw, can have a very real, very tangible impact on our physical health.
Okay, so we've talked about emotional nourishment. Now let's switch gears and talk about physical nourishment. For this next section, we're going to tackle what's called the myth of calories and look at why that simple math we've all been taught just doesn't add up. The numbers here are, well, they're pretty staggering. 2 out of every 3 Americans are overweight. And that number has doubled in only 20 years. Think about that. For all the decades of diet books and calorie counting, the problem is actually getting worse, not better. If that doesn't tell you something is wrong with our approach, I don't know what will. So you really have to ask yourself this question. If calories in, calories out was the simple answer everyone claims it is, why isn't it working? The problem is that it's too simple. It's like we're treating our bodies like some basic furnace, right? You just shovel fuel in. But our bodies are infinitely more complex than that. And this model ignores all the intricate biochemistry that's actually going on. So Dr. Vigdorovich suggests we need to look at this totally differently. The crucial factor isn't just how much we're eating, it's the balance of what we're eating. And that's a huge shift in thinking, right? Moving from just counting to actually understanding the chemistry of our food. Okay, this diagram explains the idea perfectly. Just think about it like this. Your body needs a whole range of nutrients to function properly. Now let's say you're missing just one of them. See that limited level there? Your body can only use all the other nutrients up to that point. Everything else, all that extra stuff, basically becomes useless waste. And it's this imbalance that creates that feeling of discomfort, that nagging craving for something tasty, even when your stomach is full. So, to get to that balance, we have to understand that food isn't just one thing. It's not just fuel. In fact, Dr. Vigdorovich breaks it down into 4 completely different but equally important functions. So most of us, right, we're totally obsessed with the first 2. Energy, that's our calories, and building material, like protein and vitamins. But what about the others? We almost completely forget that food also acts like a medicine, a pharmacological agent, and just as importantly, that it's a source of pleasure and a way to enhance our mood.
And that last one, pleasure,
It's absolutely critical. When you eat a meal that gives you zero joy, even if it's technically healthy, you're actually putting your body under stress. And that stress response messes with your digestion and your metabolism. So having a nicely set table or good conversation while you eat, that's not just a luxury. It's a key ingredient for good health because it creates the right conditions for your body to actually use the nourishment you're giving it.
And that idea of food as medicine leads us perfectly into our next section, which is this beautiful concept of the pharmacy in the garden. It's all about rediscovering the incredible wisdom that's hiding in traditional natural remedies, things our modern world has often just brushed aside.
Okay, let's just take cabbage, for example. I know, cabbage, but look at this timeline. This isn't some new health fad. People were eating it in the Stone Age. The ancient Romans used it as a primary medicine for 600 years. And then in 1949, scientists started studying it for ulcers. This is a food with a long, long history of being powerful medicine. And this is where the story gets really fascinating. They called it vitamin U. Back in the 40s, scientists proved that fresh cabbage juice really could heal stomach ulcers. But here's the catch. They couldn't figure out how to isolate the active ingredient and put it in a pill. It was so unstable that it lost its healing power just minutes after being juiced. I mean, it's a perfect example of how something can be totally real and effective, even if our modern science can't just bottle it up and sell.
And look, it wasn't just cabbage. The source material talks about the great physician Avicenna, who used preparations made from roses to treat hundreds of different conditions, from heart issues to trouble sleeping. It just goes to show how many plants have this rich, complex medicinal history we've kind of forgotten about.
Now, I want to be really clear about something here. The point is absolutely not to throw away modern medicine and just start drinking cabbage juice. The goal is to see this vast field of traditional knowledge as something that can complement modern medicine. It's about adding to our toolbox, not throwing out the tools we already have. So, where does all this leave us? What's the big takeaway? It all points toward the goal of living a more balanced life. And a huge part of that is shifting our mindset away from just randomly trying to treat ourselves and toward building an informed partnership for our own health. Really, what this is all about is empowerment. When you start to understand the roles of your emotions, your nutrition, and maybe even some of these traditional remedies, you become a better advocate for your own health. You can have smarter, more productive conversations with your doctor.
And this slide really lays out the two paths we can take. On one side, you have self-treatment, which is often just guesswork, right? Kind of fumbling in the dark, which can be pretty risky. And on the other side, you have the real goal, becoming an educated patient who can work with their doctor in a truly collaborative way.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one for you to take with you. This isn't about finding one secret cure or magic bullet. It's about changing your perspective. So, how can you start to see your own health, your emotions, your food, your whole life, not as these separate little boxes, but as one connected, amazing whole?